just a hair. They're getting me in all my raw glory today. No makeup. Got bit by a deer fly earlier. Drinking a Diet Mountain Dew because I need some caffeine for tonight. Fixing to work on this cow jaw medicine stick. And just thought I'd come on here and chit chat if anybody wants to join me, because I did something today that I was really proud of and really amazed at how easy it was to accomplish and how easy it was to work with law enforcement on. Hi, Gypsy. So I'm trying to figure out how I painted this sucker, so I'm trying to figure out how to get him to lay where I wanted him to lay. And that feels about right. But today there was this strange thing that happened in my neck of the woods, in a very rural podunk county that never has any protests or anything like that. We ended up having a whole group of people start planning a protest in our area, which is like 2 hours away from any government office. We have no clinics. We have no pro blah 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 groups or anything. So it was really like, I was like, why are you doing this? Like, there's nothing to be gained here from doing this here. There's nothing, you know. Hang on, my fan's gotta be turned. It's freezing me to death. Okay. So I started watching the language that was coming out of this person's mouth, and I thought, wow, this person is mad, and seems like she stays there quite often because she's very consistent in her lingo, and it comes out rather easily, and it sounds very programmed. And I thought, this is somebody who's done this before. And so I thought, oh my goodness, well, you know, crap happens, and you know, what am I supposed to do? And but then I thought, you know, I've got to look into this a little bit. I've got to, because my retired parole officer self was just, you know, all my spidey senses were going off. And I was like, this is just not right. I can't ignore this. I can't say I did not see this. So, holy crap, here goes a whole day where I'm going to be literally doing background. That's okay. You know, sometimes it has to happen. So I started doing background, and oddly enough, the name that I have shows up nowhere. And it should show up at least some places, because she's been married and she had a child. All these normal things that normally document you, you know, for old Uncle Sam. And I thought, well, that's not right. So I started putting out feelers with my friends to be like, help. Because, you know, I've been out of the circle. I never lived here. I always worked, or I never worked here. I just lived here, but I always worked elsewhere. So I didn't always pay attention to who was moving in and who was here, and you know, I just couldn't with where I worked elsewhere and had so many responsibilities for the state. So I asked my friends, help. I gave up on trying to sleep. I'm going to finish this and just go to bed. I've had a migraine right behind this all day, and it's from where I did this research this morning. And so I reached out to my friends. I said, hey, help. Don't do anything wrong. Don't do anything bad. Don't do anything that's, you know, crosses the line. But can somebody try to figure out who this person is? And if this is her real name, because I don't think it is. because I'm finding zip on her, and there should at least be some documentation of this person. So my friends start looking. And I have one message me back almost immediately. Knows where this person's mother works. And apparently the person's mother has a Facebook page. So I go to the Facebook page. Me and my friend go to the Facebook page. Just happened, that the mother slips up and calls her by her real given name in a couple of comments. So I'm like, oh, well, that's not the name you're using all over creation here in our neck of the woods. So, how come? Now, there's only two reasons you change your name. Two reasons. You hate the one your mom and daddy gave you, or you hide it. That's only two reasons to change your name. So I then go back to the state where the mother also slipped up and said they moved from, county and everything, and do a search with that name. Bingo. We have someone who violated a protection order and assaulted somebody. Somebody that obviously has some anger management issues and an issue following the law. So I was like, this doesn't sound like a person that needs to be, handling a possibly very cantankerous protest. So I try to call the circuit court clerk in that area, but they done closed by this time, so I was like, fart. So then I do a slight background, but I refuse to pay for all of it. But I note that there are 2 arrests, and I have one newspaper article that tells me what the one arrest was for, and it was for a violent interaction in violation of a restraining order or protection. So I've got enough now that I'm concerned, right? Y'all would be concerned if y'all saw this too, right? You've got somebody, and it's not like she's setting up a protest. She's on here saying this is a Summer of Rage event, and that they're going to basically dispel our stupid God and religion while they're here. Which, I'm sorry, but you know something? Stop trying to affix all these other things, with a topic. They all don't belong together. They all don't go together. It's tiresome at times trying to help people understand that, your belief system that you worked years to cultivate, other people do that too, and you probably shouldn't just jump out the gate and try to disrespect them. We should try to at least meet in the middle and have a conversation. But when I tried to say, hey, I don't think this is really a smart idea, because we've never had a protest here, we don't have the resources for it because we barely have a sheriff's department. And you could be bringing a lot of harm into our area. We got Gypsy, Megan, Country Christian on here, and Diana. How y'all doing? It's story time with Mama Liz. So, I just was like, she's trying to incite and provoke people online. She's taunting them to come out and basically represent your God on that day. And I'm sitting here going, oh, no. We're already sitting on a powder keg here in the South. Do we really need to strike a match? This is just, here in these little, I'm stronger than I think I am. Here in these little podunk cities, counties, we're not used to people coming in here and raising Cain, and we like it that way. That's why we move here, and that's why we keep it quiet, because we don't like it when people come in and raise Cain. Oscar just went crazy. So I tried to de-escalate and tell her, hey, this probably isn't the best idea. We're an hour and a half away from medical care should something bad occur. A lot of people here don't really have a perspective because you are in the Bible Belt. And like it or lump it, it's where you move. So instead of trying to cause an issue, you might maybe reach out and cause a conversation first. That would be really great. Oh my goodness, the language that was then used on me. I would like to say it surprised me, but it did not. As I tell everybody, it only hurts if you can spell it correctly. Hooked on Phonics does not work for me. So then all her buddies that she has talked into coming down for this thing, they start basically saying, oh yeah, well, we'll be there too. We're bringing reinforcements. Whoa, you're crossing state lines to come to Podunk to have a discussion with who? We have no government offices here. We have no clinic. We have nothing here but a very calm community that is just kind of like, we prefer quiet. Shut up. And I'm like, this is not going to go well. This is not going to go well. Not going to go well. I said, know your audience. We support, we take up money at stop signs and four-ways for Little Tykes pageants, Pee-wee cheerleading and football, boys and girls clubs. I mean, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. Know your audience. Probably not a good place to go in and have a pro-choice rally. I mean, just logically speaking, probably not a good place. Yeah. I got about the same behavior back that time. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I was like, listen, I try to be kind, and I'm trying to warn you about the climate here, and I'm trying to let you understand that this might be status quo for where you come from, but we don't get involved in a lot of political nonsense around here because it's just not how we live our life. And if you move in here and you start doing this, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb, and you're going to create a lot of people that are going to have hostilities towards you for no reason at all, because you can have this belief, you can hold this belief, you just don't have to go and smack it around in everybody's face, And of course she's saying, oh, what, yin's banned this, yin's banned. I said, honey, no, nothing was banned. I said it was defaulted back to the states, honey. I said, I know this is confusing, but nothing was banned. I'm really trying to work with you here. Nothing was banned. And she said, well, all the states that have trigger laws have shut down abortion. I said, yeah, but those trigger laws were set into place years ago when this other was set into place. And I said, they've acted just like the safety that they were intended to be, and they've frozen everything and reverted back to a do not pass go, do not collect $200, nothing. And I said the states will then have to have some discussion, dialogue, and decide where they want to stand on regulations and law. And I said they'll have to vote on it. I said the citizens will have to vote on it. She said, well, they haven't voted on it yet. I said, it's only been 3 days, 4 days. I said, you've got to have more patience and understand how this works. And I said, it's not wise to jump into your community that you've not been part of very long in this manner. And I'm concerned that you're not quite aware of the demographic that reside here. And I'm trying to say, sweetie, it's not going to end well. Let's not do this. Let's find a better way to talk about it. No. I am Satan. I'm a hypocrite. I'm an idiot. Whatever. Get it out of your system. So I just took all my screenshots and I just contacted the sheriff's department. And I said, hey, there is a woman that just moved here that I don't believe has quite calculated the climate of the area, but also has somewhat of a nefarious past, and maybe trying to create a big brouhaha that you guys might want to know about. And here's the information I found, and could y'all check up and see if there were any convictions, if she's on active supervision, if anything's going on that the public should be aware of more so than we are. And thank you. To which the deputy said, "Holy beep." I said, "Yeah." Kind of scared me when I ran across it too. And he said, "Oh my God." He said, "That is horrible." He said, they're planning that for here?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "Question of the day. I don't got a clue. I have no idea." And so he was just like, God, now something else I've got to handle. And I was like, I'm sorry. I knew I was creating a crap storm for you when I would have to bring this to your attention. I said, I apologize profusely. It truly was not my intent to do this. But y'all, if it is going to be a peaceful protest and they're going to behave, that's great. But judging by the behavior and the preview that we're getting online, it's going to be anything but peaceful. And she's basically trying to gin up hate so that she can walk into this and have that drama and have those people react. And people here are not used to this type of stuff, so they will react, and they will react poorly. And I'm just trying to look out for everybody's best interest and say, hey, y'all, let's sit down, shut up, and think about this for 5 seconds, because this could really change the way that our community functions. So the Popo was really glad that I had taken an interest in this, and I was like, well, it was my friend that actually knew the family and knew a way to figure out the actual name. So really, my friend did more than I did. I said, I just know y'all better, so I thought I would drop the information by. And they're like, well, we'll check it out. And they're like, yeah, this is absolutely concerning. This would show somebody that, already has motive and intent and past aggression and violence. And he's like, yeah, we normally, if we have to give out paperwork for these events, if somebody's got a history like that or is going to be participating or leading it, he's like, we normally tell them no, because we know it's probably not going to go a good way. We want someone to be in control or responsible that, has a clean history. And I was like, well, I understand that. And I said, I'm not trying to cause problems. I just am really concerned that this individual wants a powder keg moment and that some people in this area will give it to her. And I really don't want either to get their little fantasy moment. And he was like, well, I appreciate that. So, yeah, I spent a lot of my day doing that, but I may have saved a lot of bad mojo for my area. You know something? And that's good. That's what you got to do. You got to be proactive. You got to go out there and you got to know the people in your community and be prepared for these events. And it's just sad that people do this. Diane says, yes, I moved 2 years ago from a big city in Texas to a small one in Oklahoma, and I've never been happier. And most people that move here are super happy too, but most people move here and respect the vibe here, and they move here because they want that vibe. I've never met anyone that moved here and wanted to just destroy it, and that really bugs me. How come I'm up so late? This is normal for me because David works second, so I'm normally up late. I just, where I've been sick the last couple weeks, I hadn't been doing my normal thing. So this is actually normal for me. I normally go to bed around midnight. So this is probably more normal than yins have ever seen me have a schedule. I'm trying to get a few things finished, and I was so happy this morning. David looked at me and he said, hey, my bobtail bobcat sold. He caught a bobtail bobcat last year. It was the most beautiful. When he walked up to it in the snare, he actually did video, and because it was so pretty, and he was videoing it for me because I miss doing all these things because my freaking legs don't work and I can't do anything anymore. And so he's videoing, and he was like, oh, Liz, look at this one. He's got big mahogany stripes down his side. He's so beautiful. He's like, oh, this is the prettiest coloration I've seen in 2 years. And then he goes, frig, he ain't got a tail. And so he didn't have a tail. If it had a tail, he would have been the most beautiful, beautiful catch in probably 4 or 5 years. And David was like, man, and I was like, well, I think, it gives him some personality. So we started going back through the trail cam footage. And lo and behold, because we thought, surely something's happened to this guy this year or something. We started going back through the trail cam footage. We keep about a month or two at a time, and then we erase the SD card. Went back through the trail cam footage. Doggone it if he'd never had a tail. And he was low dog on the totem pole, which is probably why he didn't have a tail. But it was just funny. And you could see that he was aggravating as all get out to to the yotes in charge. Like, he was really giving them a run for their money. He was like the little kid in the back seat that's, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. So he had a bunch of spunk to him, which we really kind of enjoyed getting to know. And so when we listed him, David listed the whole story about him, and somebody bought him today, and we kind of rejoiced that he's going to go and have a home, because we were worried he would not find his home because he didn't have a tail. But he was just beautiful. Like I told David, if he doesn't sell, he may just have to stay here with me, because he had the most beautiful mahogany stripes down his side. I was just in love with him. And y'all know I fall in love with all the animals, and I know y'all think it's weird because we're fur trappers and tanners, but there's, we're kind of the guardians or the conservationists. We have to keep the balance so that everybody eats and nobody goes onto farms and has to get shot, and they get to, have a pretty decent life. And if they do get caught, they get caught with somebody, using their wiles, and, really, it's a match of the minds. And we really respect our critters. And so I was so glad he sold, because I was afraid he wasn't going to find a home. But he did, and I'm glad about that. So David's going to have to get him shipped out. I actually put this on right before our live last night, and then I took it back off and put my jammies back on. So I just put it back on this morning. I've been rocking it all day. I got this little necklace here for my birthday, and it's just a little stainless necklace with a little tiny carabiner on it. And you can open it and put jewels and stuff on it, and I have a little evil eye ring that I had been wearing on it while my hands were so swollen, but now that I'm doing better, my hands are unswelling again, so very happy about that, I might add. But I just wanted to come on here and say, something, watch out for your communities. There's nothing wrong with protesting, absolutely nothing wrong at all. But when you can tell that people are going about it for the wrong motivation, absolutely raise concerns. You're allowed to do that. It's not against the rules. Raise concerns. If you know somebody that has a violent background that may be planning something, absolutely bring it to the attention of your sheriff's department. I guarantee that they will thank you. We have an environment prime in this nation for people to really take advantage of others emotionally, and we need to try to make sure that that does not happen. And so this is a time that we need to just really watch our communities and be aware, and not be mean or hateful or petty. Just be aware and try to make sure that when things do occur, they're on the up and up, and all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and that we're hopefully doing everything for the right reasons and with the right mentality and heart behind it. But I'm really struggling to digest just how much ignorance. Being stupid and being willfully ignorant are two very different things. When you're willfully ignorant, you desire to be so because it does something for you. And that's what I'm finding that a lot of people are currently on this topic. And it's creating a lot of animosity that should not even occur, because the beliefs that they're holding that they're aggravated about are actually not even occurring. The things that they're traumatized about are not actually occurring. So it's, I wish we could talk about things in this country and have an actual dialogue, but that's not the way that social media and certain political parties have created the climate to do. It's an actual climate of hate, and that's paying the bills right now. So it's not going to be undone anytime soon, and that's sad. Also listened to the leaked audio from the laptop today, and that saddened my heart to have a lot of suspicions cemented that I was concerned about. And we've got to start having some accountability in this nation again, or it's just going to turn into a big fear-mongering court case. If what I don't like is you punish people on actions. You can't place someone in a putative relationship with their state or their federal government until they have broken or violated a contractual agreement or law by an action. But what we're seeing is one side creating punitive damages based on what they think others are capable of. You can't do that legally. You can't do that legally, because if we punish people on what we fear will happen, then we create, we turn everyone into our own personal monster so that we can do whatever we want to them. We can't do that. We have to be a nation of laws that go after actions. We can't, yeah, we've got motive in there as well, but the actions are what you're actually prosecuting, the physical behavior. And so when I see people that are just scared of what people may be, may do, they may go and now attack this law, or they may go now and attack this ruling, or they may go, and it's like, no, wait. We've got a whole lot of people that are worried about gay marriage and all this other stuff, and it's not even been put on the table. And I think like 12 times the Supreme Court said, nope, we're not addressing that. That's that is protected. That's a whole different ballgame. But it's fear. It's fear, and these people that are getting fearful are acting out in hate, but they're never punished. They're never punished, and it's we wake up and hear about all these horrible, mostly peaceful protests, but then nobody ever ends up going to court because they're bought, the DAs and the prosecutors are bought out. And so it's very disconcerting to see our nation struggling to work. We're not even effectively working correctly right now. It's sad, and it's all based on fear that normally leans left. And there's something to say about being prepared, knowing your enemy. But just like me, I'm trying to be prepared to know my enemy, but I also know that if she doesn't have the correct history, there's nothing I can do. And she can have her protest. And I'm not going to do anything to, if legally she can, and then she's not under any kind of ruling or supervision status that says she can't, then legally she can. There's nothing I can do. I have to wait and see if she goes into this and creates a powder keg moment, and her actions are what I'm afraid they will be. But there's nothing I can do. I try to walk that line and follow the law. But I'm not seeing that very much in other teams. How did he like the live? Heavy is used to lives. He was tired. He's worked so many hours last week. He was just tired. He had on his grumpy, I want to go to sleep face, so we didn't stay on super long. I just wanted everybody to get to know him, and normally if y'all don't see him on Sunday, y'all get worried about him, so I thought, well, I'll check in and let him know. He is indeed alive. But as far as like new items and new furs and stuff, he's been working so many hours, he just didn't have a whole lot to update. I did go sneaky and order him some hats, but he found out about it. I ordered him some hats to represent his tanning business for these big vendor trips coming up where he gets to set up at these big events. And I just wanted, you know, that hat is easy for people to read. It's easy for them to see the Facebook emblem and know, okay, well, if you can't get a minute to talk to him, you can write that down and find it online, or use your phone immediately and find it. So I'm trying to help him advertise and be a good wife. And I totally was trying to sneak it, and he found out about it anyway. So that's normally what happens when I try to sneak something anyway. He finds out about it. But he enjoys getting on here and saying hi. We just didn't have a lot of activity yesterday, but we also had a lot of storms in the area. And so we assumed a lot of y'all had storms in your areas. And our electricity went off like twice yesterday, and we didn't know if we was going to be able to do the live at all. And then it came back on and stayed on, and so we were like, okay, well, we'll give it a whirl. And we got lucky. It stayed on for us. But it was a very strange day yesterday because the storms did not act like normal storms. And every time we batted our eye, it was electrical storms mostly. Every time we batted our eye, our electricity was going out, and we were like, okay. But if you've heard me talk about where I live before, you know that, like, my electricity, I literally say if the neighbor's dog up the road pees, then my electric goes out. It's that sensitive. When you live rural and in the mountain area with a lot of trees and very small crews that maintain these lines, it just happens. We're just used to it. So we have a screened-in back porch because when the electricity goes out, we go sit on the screened-in back porch. So we hate it when it goes out in the winter though, because then you have to cook on the wood stove, and you have to really turn into your grandma and grandpa and your great grandma and grandpa with hiccups, and that's not always fun. But I mean, we hack it. I think our longest time without electricity has been like 5 or 6 days. A big ice storm that came through. Everybody else was completely like discombobulated, didn't know what to do, and we were just like playing Uno by the hurricane lamps, keeping the one room with the wood stove just a rolling, and cooking soups and pinto beans on the stove. And we just took everything out of the refrigerator and put a Tupperware bin in the snow and ice and made a redneck fridge. And then when you go to bed at night, so your clothes will be warm the next day, you put your clothes in, like, beside you under the blanket, so that when you sleep, you heat up your clothes, and you get up in the morning, you put on warm clothes. And just a lot of little tips and tricks that then, like, my friends that have moved into here, they'd be like, oh. And I was like, oh. Yeah. But I used to live in the woods and work at a wilderness boot camp. So I used to live in the woods and sleep out in the woods and cut timber and build cabins and cook over fires, and it was, for me, it was just like playing like I was a kid again, but I just had to take care of 13 juveniles that would be in prison had they not been at boot camp. So we're getting quite a bit. Music, I'm blind. Music for healing. There you are, yes. So we will try, David and I will try to do a Sunday check-in live every week we can. We don't know about this holiday weekend. He's got a lot of tanning to do. I'm making another beaver jaw talking stick. So I'm going to put pom-poms and then feathers at the tail end. I think I'm going to put a pom-pom here and then feather at the tail end. Or feather up here. No, I don't want the pom-pom down here. I'll put a pom-pom up here and feathers at the tail end. And I'm fixing to have to go to the Amish leather shop. That's where it's a local Amish community. And they make basically all the leather and cowhides. And I buy out of their shop and buy remnants as well. So I try to use what other people will not use and turn them into pretty things. because I don't really always need a huge piece of leather. I just need, you know, some soft buckskin, some structured double-sided leather, and then if they don't have the cordage, then I can cut the buckskin and stretch it and make my own cordage. So that's not a big deal, but I always try to buy from them and support their business. And they're good, quiet neighbors, so you might as well. We do actually have a very large Amish community here. And that store is, it's about a half hour away, but we also have an Amish family just about 4 miles down the road. And great people, a lot of knowledge and skill, just great people. And we enjoy having them nearby. They're very, very educational. Very helpful too when you need help. I don't think you could probably get a better neighbor than an Amish family. I really don't. And I feel kind of lucky that I live in an area that they gravitate toward because they're really good people. They do. Now, sometimes I will say when they see me in the grocery store, because of all my tattoos, they sometimes will walk away from me. But normally once they get to know me at the leather shop, they will talk to me almost everywhere they see me because they know I'm not a mean person. I do understand that I'm a big brawny woman and I look rather evil with all my tattoos. So I understand the shock at first. I can understand that. So I give them a break there for the first couple meetings. Because I know I'm a little scary. It's okay. But yeah, we've got to go back to the leather shop. And so what I may do is on that day we go back to the leather shop, I may actually film. I can't film them, but I can film a little bit of the journey there and a little bit of parts of the shop. I just have to be very respectful and not get any of them on film, which I will be super careful not to do. But they have a awesome business. They do awesome tanning and work. They do like the big cow hides, and they have really good prices on them too. So, and then David gets to talk shop with the guy that does the tanning, so he enjoys going. And I always wander around and look at stuff, and it's so funny because David, most of the time he wears his navy blue work pants and just a solid color shirt until he goes to work halfway during the day. So then he puts on his work shirt that buttons down and goes on. But when he just puts on his navy work pants and a solid color shirt, if he puts on his straw hat, he looks Amish. And so lots of times when he's walking through the Amish stores, he will start getting followed by the young single Amish women. And I get so tickled. Because then he turns into that buzzard from Bugs Bunny, like da 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 da. And I'm like, I think you're pretty. He will get so mad at me. But it's so funny. I just have to irritate him with it. It's so funny. And then they'll kind of look at me like, because me and David, we don't match. If you see us out in public, you'll be like, they don't match. You would never think we're a married couple. I'm covered in ink and a big burly woman, and then he is very much a country bumpkin. And so when I walk around with him, they're like, well, who's that? And then he'll look at me and look at them. He'll be like, it's my wife of like 20 years. And they'll be like, and I'm like, hey. So I do try to cover up when I go there. I do at least wear sleeves so I don't have like everything, because the top of my back is done as well. So I try to not be super scary when I go there, because the little Amish kids will kind of backpedal, and I don't want to create that for them. So I do normally try to cover up or wear a cardigan. But it's always funny because the little Amish girls follow David around. I'm like, they love you. They want to hug you. He gets so mad at me. Yeah, see, I'm glad somebody else gets that. They make David, and he's very, until he gets mad, he's very soft-spoken, a man of few words. And, but he doesn't mind to step up and say it when he needs to say it. But until he gets there, he's very quiet. And I am very loud and rambunctious. And they're like, how do y'all even live together? And I'm like, precariously. We actually have a very good marriage, though. It just, I think it takes some people by surprise. That's okay. It happens. I think sometimes opposites attract, because I can be very flighty and change channels in my brain very often, and so I need somebody sometimes that will just kind of grab my arm and go, stop. And for me, that's David. He'll look at me and he'll be like, you need to stop. And I'm like, okay, I'm stopping now. So I definitely know that I have total ADHD moments. They're getting fewer and fewer as I get older, but I totally still see them and recognize them and understand that he is very helpful for me in that regard. And it's amazing to know how much I have quieted down since my health became an issue. I have become such a much more quiet person. And that's if you've known me at all any time in my life, that's an amazing thing on its own because I'm never quiet. But I wanted to come on while I did this tonight and let y'all know, there are ways that you can quietly and without creating conflict and without engaging with someone inappropriately, just do simple background, simple circuit court clerk calls and questions, and know if you're handling someone that is potentially dangerous in your area. And if you are, speak up to law enforcement. As the summer wanes on, I'm afraid it's going to turn into another one of those whack-a-mole summers where we have people just creating issues everywhere. And so these are just little things that a lot of people don't know, but any arrest or contact with law enforcement, unless it has a juvenile or a protected body in it, is public knowledge. And so you can take that public knowledge and ask these questions. Hang on, I'm getting my clippers. Ask these questions and get information about people that you are allowed to have. And that is in order to make good decisions, like if you want to attend a protest or a rally or anything, make sure you know who's running it, what their history is, what their background is, if they're going to propagate a positive vibe or a negative vibe. These are all things that you legally can do. You can, if you have a name or a name and a birthday, you can call any place they may have lived and ask the circuit court clerk if they have any charges or any record that you should be aware of. These are all things you're allowed to do. That's why arrests are public knowledge. It's for the safety of everyone so that they can be aware of possible threats in their community. Mugshots are not being released more and more often, so you have to kind of dig and go and look. So that's why I recommend you dig and go and look and become aware, especially if people are starting to program these events. Now, don't go into it with the mindset that you're going to shut it down, because that's not a healthy mindset. Go into it hoping that you're going to find out if this person has violent tendencies and what kind of event they are trying to create. That's all you can do. And then if you find something that's concerning, turn it over to law enforcement. Don't ever try to engage on your own. That is a no-no. That leads to nothing but problems. But you can use public, resource sites and look this up. Lots of times, if someone was ever in prison, you can do a Department of Corrections search on their name, and if they were ever in prison at any given time, it will show their prison time, their release date, if they were on supervision upon release, where they were supervised, and what time their supervision ended if it has. And so you can find out a whole lot of stuff, and it just stays there. So if you're a felony offender, look up in your area, you'll find that out. It's just a lot of people don't know how to use these resources. If you live in a very small county, sometimes they will hold judgment orders until they have 300 to 500 to send into sentence management. Well, that could take 5 to 6, 7 months. So if you think that somebody's had a recent issue, call your circuit court clerk and say, hey, does this person have a criminal record that I should be concerned about? Do they have misdemeanor issues? Have they ever violated an order of protection? And by law, you're allowed to know. So, be smart. Keep your wits about you. Don't stoop to engage at their level of anger. And just try to get a profile of what kind of environment they're trying to create, and if it seems to be a positive thing or potentially a dangerous thing. And if you have a bad gut feeling, turn over everything that you found to your local popo and say, I'm concerned about this. That's all you can do. Now, I know that everybody's sitting there going, well, that's super nice compared to how most other people treat the quieter side of the line. Yeah, it is. But somebody has to keep the manners and decorum, and has to show these people that, no matter what their behavior, some people do really respect the law and obey the law, and don't seek to have negative interactions. I know it's shucks, we don't see that much anymore, but it's true. So, y'all, I tell you what though, in my time of working with offenders, I have to say I met some good people. You can meet good people anywhere, and I met some real good people that just had horrible decision making skills, but you can work on those. So there was no reason for me not to like them. There was no reason for me to, immediately think that I had to not treat them like a human being. I mean, my goodness, they were, just a person that had just made some mistakes. And I met some really great people that just didn't make the best decisions, but we worked on it, and they got better. And now some of them are even pillars in the community, and I'm really proud of them. And I enjoy when I run into them now, and they enjoy when they run into me. And it's nice to have that knowledge, that people can overcome their past and really shine. And I'm telling you, when people that overcome things choose to shine, they shine big, they shine bright. And it's worth paying attention to because it's a beautiful thing to see. So I am always ecstatic when I run into somebody that I either had to do a warrant on and send them back, or really had a gut feeling that they were not going to make it, and they've made it. And now they're running a business, or they're successfully parenting their children again, or, and I'm just always so happy to run into them and to know that maybe in just a small way I helped that positive momentum keep them on the right track. And y'all know when I used to go to Walmart, now I do pickup because my legs don't work, but when I used to go to Walmart, I couldn't go to Walmart without 15,000 hugs in the milk aisle. Everybody and their grandma, every time they saw me, I would get, oh, Miss Liz, and they would come after me and hug me and thank me for the way that I handled, their family's probably worst event. And I was like, not a problem. That's the way I would want it if it happened in my family. So, I'm not trying to, damn anyone in what they're trying to do. I am just simply, at this point, trying to make sure that I keep an eye on my community. Isn't that cute? Trying to keep an eye on my community and make sure that no one is attempting to bring hostilities here on purpose, and that no one that has the background of malevolence and malicious intent is generating the vibe in this very small, family-oriented hidey hole in Appalachia. So, I appreciate your wisdom. I don't know if it's wisdom or I just sometimes think too much. I did have today somebody tell me basically what I should do with my life, and it was like a very detailed what I should do, and it was not a nice ending. And he's like, what do you have to say to that? And I was like, that was very thorough. And while you're up there, will you check for polyps? Because my doctor would super mondo appreciate that. I don't really get mad. I try to make light of it. But when people really try to like crawl right up my hiney, I normally make a joke about it. Because it's social media. It's like a big sandbox. So I just kind of get over it and go on. But I am really concerned about what I found out today. So, okay, so I added 2 spirals. Basically the duality of life there. Got me some feathers going on. I got me a little handle right here. I put me some jewels on the back side of the beaver jaw to bling bling. I'm going to have to coat those with a clear coat to keep them on. And I'm going to add a coyote pom-pom right here. And then that will probably be all of that one. Unless it talks to me and says it wants more. But I think that is probably where I end with that one. So imagine a big coyote pom-pom right here. And that'll probably be all of that one. But I'll have to go back and clear coat it. And lock all the loose beads and the spiral and everything down. So it does not move. So that'll be another half hour or so of work on that one to get it done. So, we're supposed to be taking some of David's stuff back to the True West campground where he had the big vendor sale the other week. They've requested that he leave some stuff in their sale room and that they would sell it on commission because they've had so many people ask. We forgot to get that man's number. Do you know where he is? And, you know, and so sometimes it can be kind of hard to find us, even though I think we're like blatantly obvious to find. It can be, some people struggle with it. So he's going to go I think Wednesday, and he's got some stuff to mail to ship out. That bobtail coyote that I'm so excited got a home. And then he's going to run on down to the campground and drop off some stuff to sell on commission, so some furs and stuff. And so Wednesday's going to be a busy day for Dave. He's going to be on the road and then back running to work. But he is taking off days this weekend for the holiday. So I am going to be bugging him. I'm going to be annoying the crap out of him. Let's just be honest. I'm going to be annoying the crap out of him. And making some content to share. And then I think next week we may go to the leather store in the Amish community. So over the next couple weeks we should get a lot of content. I don't know if we're going to do a couples check-in this week because it's the holiday weekend or not, but he did take days off around the holiday because of the hours he's been working. He's banked some time, so he was like, heck, I need a break. So he is going to be home for a few days. He's got several things that he's got to get tanned because they're a little bit more specific hides that you have to watch closer. But I will be able to follow him a little closer and do some more in-depth videos with him. I know we gained a new follower this morning. It was the man who bought the mahogany bobtail coyote hide. So if you see this hide, thank you. I have really enjoyed chatting with you. Yes, he said only watch the tanning videos and ignore his wife that talks way too much. I second that. If you don't find interest in my discussions, don't watch them. But we're super glad to have you kind of in our hillbilly fur family, and we appreciate the business. David was ecstatic because, like I said, we were really worried that little guy was not going to find a home. Now, I was not as worried because I was willing to put him right in my living room on my wall. But David really likes to see his pelts go places, and so he was tickled that this one found a home. And you know, you don't sell a lot because when you have such a niche audience on Etsy, but when you do sell, you meet really good people, and you meet people that have a very similar existence, and that is always super fun. And so David really got a kick out of that poor little coyote finding its home, which I wish it had had a tail. It was one of the most beautiful pelts. It was not a huge coyote, but it was one of the most beautiful little guys. And I thought, well, I know how you feel, little guy, because if good Lord had given you a tail, you would have outshined them all. I think that's why God didn't make me skinny. I'm joking. Um, but we were super glad to see that happen this morning. It's always nice to see your art sell, and David is rather new to this, so it's, for me, it's very rewarding to see my husband do something that he loves and have it be so well received. So I enjoy watching him go through the emotions of having sales and, you know, meeting people and talking to people. It's very fun because, you know, he's used to be completely antisocial, bless his heart, and I think I have changed him a lot in that regard. So I think he's much more social and talkative now, and I know he still doesn't like to put out the jewelry and stuff if I'm not there, because he doesn't know how to talk to women about it. But I'm like, women know what it is. You just need to let it dangle in the sun, and they'll you know, if they want to buy it, they'll buy it. But he's always like, I don't know how to answer their questions about this stuff, and I always get tickled with him. But I have a really sweet husband. I'm lucky in that department. So I'm hoping that the kids will get together this weekend so we can see them for a few minutes, because I haven't seen them in a while. But you just never know what a holiday weekend will bring. It's also David's brother's birthday, so there's also a family dinner shoved in there. So it's a busy weekend, especially with him tanning, but I am going to try to keep the camera on him and get some content. So I've also got people coming to pick up these kittens that are showing up so that they get new homes. So that will be fun to see. Watch people try to catch these absolutely almost feral kittens. That will be hilarious. So we should have quite the interesting weekend between the kittens and the tanning. So there was a story on one of the local boards about a boy, apparently, since we talked about woolly boogers the other day, I'll end with this and let you go, who apparently took a picture of a woolly booger. Now, when I say woolly booger, I guess some people will call it Bigfoot. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it, you can call it. And it was apparently stalking his little dog out in the yard and trying to hide behind a tree that was way too small for it to hide behind. And he took a picture of it. Now, I am one of those people that I'm just leery at believing pictures and stuff. I'm just going to have to run smack into one and have it shake my hand, I guess. That's just how I am. But I also know that I have had strange events in the woods, so I don't discredit people just cause. But apparently there was one sighted, and it attempted to run off with somebody's little Chihuahua Pomeranian mix or something. So I thought I would report that to you, and it was round about the same area where I had the really weird incident ginsenging. So it was definitely in the right area for me to go, huh, you know. Now, do I know if it's true or not? I don't have a flipping clue, but I just thought it was interesting. I just thought it was very interesting. So, I know that there is another man whose grandfather says he had a very hair-raising interaction with one during deer season back in the day when he was a younger man. And my brother has stated he had an interaction with one during a deer season back in the day. Maybe one day I'll tell you that story. I don't know. Show of hands if you want to hear that story. But I'm thinking about taking this little old man out to lunch one day to hear his story, because it was also in the area where I had my weird experience. So, been some developments along that line here in the sticks too. I thought that was something y'all might want to know about. That topic really interests me because I have, been raised basically in the woods, and have had some rather strange occurrences happen to me. So definitely may look into that. I'm also currently writing some articles for the local paper about people in the area that keep the old ways alive. I'm currently writing about a young man that learned blacksmithing trade, and is trying to keep that alive here in the area, and he's opened up a business for his blacksmithing. So I do write for the local newspaper, kind of at my leisure when I feel like it. She's a really great woman. I've known her since I got out of high school. We worked together like previously at the other newspaper that our county had, and then she started her own. And I did some writing for the Fair Board Association for some competitions, and she likes the way I write, so she then asked me to write some articles for the paper, and so I think like the week before last I had like 2 or 3 articles in the paper. I'm really good at like heritage, cultural stuff, but I'm writing about this young man that learned the blacksmithing trade just because like he was introduced to it and just fell in love. He's got a really great story. And she also at some point wants me to write about David with tanning, trapping and tanning, and Lane with the chainsaw art. But I'm not going to write about my family first. It's tacky. So I'm going to write about other people's families first. And so I've got some of that I've got to get done over the next few weeks as well. And of course, David also said he will be at the 127 corridor sale. So if you all are going to be in the area, or anybody does attend that, if you would like to know where David is going to be so that you can find him and meet him, we should have the address or even the GPS coordinates in a couple of weeks. Hi, Denise. I'm working my little honey off here. Little. Trying to get some stuff done and make a few items, and I'm trying to assembly line a few things, because I know I've got other stuff I'm going to have to work on here soon. So I'm trying to get everything, while I'm feeling better, I'm trying to get everything in progress, because I never know when my health will tank, as you all have witnessed several times. I never know when my health will tank, and so when I'm feeling good, I really try to get as much done as possible. So, I had someone ask me for fudge. Not the pierced ear, but the clamp-on earrings. What are they called? Oh my gosh, my brain. Anyway, had a lady ask me about that. I do have them in. I've been kind of waiting for that person to sift back through in chat so I can say, okay, I know you wanted beaded, but do you want, just beaded on the stud? Do you want me to make dangle beaded? Color schemes that you want? And I've not seen her go through. So if any of y'all have, do not have pierced ears, but you want some earrings, and they could be either Cody tooth or beaded, all you need to do is let me know, because I have the backs and I can make them. I just know that there's not as big of a need for them, but I totally don't care to make them. You just need to let me know that that's what you need, and I can make some and tell David that he can throw them up on Etsy so that you can do a purchase through there. They'll be super cheap. Mostly what you'll be paying for is the shipping. The earring basically will be free. You'll just be paying for the shipping. But I know that not everybody has pierced ears, and I had that asked, so I do have the stuff in. I just need to know, I know you wanted beaded stuff, but I just need to know what exactly you're looking for so that I can make sure that I get it leaning toward what you wanted. Because I don't really want to make something that is not going to sell or is not going to move out. So yeah, that's kind of where I am on that. Kind of digging this. This is a fox jaw, and I broke the hinge because I don't know my own strength. I broke the hinge, but I went ahead and used him on this because I thought he was cute. And so he is got his point down like that, like a little hatchet, and got his feathers. And I'm not going to add a lot to this because I want some in different price brackets, so I'm not going to add a whole lot to him because I want some in different price brackets so that different people can buy them. So that's kind of how I roll on that. And I've got some that are going to be just plain medicine sticks with feathers and beads and beadwork and stuff. And so they'll be even more affordable. But I just try to make options so that basically any household, any income can find something on David's page. Because we know what it's like to get all excited about somebody's art and then go to shop and be like, flip, I can't afford that. So we try to keep prices to to a level that we would be okay with on our income. We have basically, by the time I pay my health insurance and all my co-pays and deductibles and prescriptions, because my pancreas medication on the months that I have to have it can go anywhere between $1,200 and $2,300. Thank God my pancreas is behaving better. Don't jinx me. But we understand. We understand hardship. So we try to keep our prices at a place where we know if we can afford them, basically being low dog on the totem pole, that other people can too. So we try to keep them there. And there are some things that we put a whole lot of work into that will have a larger price tag, but we also try to put stuff that is easier made, or we can get the stuff that we need to make them local, so it's a little bit easier and cheaper financially to make. We try to place those in a price bracket where almost everybody can afford them. And because I'm just learning how to wire wrap, my earrings are super affordable right now. And if you ever buy a set of my earrings and if something happens and they break or fall apart, please just message David on message David on Etsy, and he will tell me, and I'll just whip up another one, because it's what I do for physical therapy for my finger, so it's not going to hurt me at all to whip up another set and send them out. Or if you want that set corrected, you can mail it back and I'll correct it. But so far I've had really good luck and really good feedback about my jewelry. And I normally test out the way I make them. I will make me like a default pair and wear them. And I know if they don't fall apart, that I've made them pretty good, because I'm rough on earrings, y'all. I'm really rough on earrings. I'm rough on jewelry. I've broken 3 wedding sets. That's why I will not wear an expensive wedding set. I don't even have one on right now, where I've been swollen, but I will not allow David to buy me an expensive wedding set. Matter of fact, I've made him buy 2 from pawn shops because I'm rough on them. I break them. Like, back when I was actually still doing farm work and had horses, I would throw a bale of hay and break them or rip them off my finger, and there was no need for him to be spending a ton of money on something that I would forget I had on my finger and pitch to the wind. So, I am one of those, I like artsy fartsy jewelry, but it's hard for me to justify wearing a lot of money on my hand. And I think a lot of women are like that. Okay, so I put some jewels on that to cover up the gap there. I really like the way that turned out. And I'm going to let him dry, but I have got to seal these tomorrow. And that'll be a couple of hours and about 3 or 4 layers of sealing. So that'll be what I do tomorrow. And I'm starting to weave that dream catcher hopefully tomorrow as well. So maybe in the next couple of days I will have some of the beginning dream catcher in video footage for you. It's a big mamba jamba. Literally, it's so big I could hula hoop in it. And I'm a fat girl. So it's going to be quite the event to make. Going to be the biggest one I've made to date. And it is purely decor, and it is going to be going down to True West for commission sale. And I don't really like to make them that way, but I saw this big sapling, and I had this huge idea that, because he was already crooked over, that he wanted to be a dream catcher. So that's what I'm doing to him. But I'm trying to get these sticks done, because somehow I got on a stick rampage last week. So I'm trying to get those done and get them moved out. Oh, Denise, I'm so glad to hear that. So Denise bought dream catchers for her granddaughter and grandson. And I'm Cherokee. I'm Scots, Irish, and Cherokee. I look like a potato farmer. I know. I took right after my dad. But I kind of learned about this when we would go to the council meetings and the powwows and the tribe meetings and stuff like that. And then as I became an adult, I got a little more into it, researching your lineage and stuff. And so I learned how to do all this stuff, learned the meaning behind it, had some really great elders that taught me some stuff. And I knew a little bit about gemstones. Now I've got a friend that is teaching me a lot about gemstones. A lot. And I charged her granddaughters. I actually wired a rose quartz to her granddaughter's dream catcher. And I think it may have a plain quartz on there too somewhere. I have to remember. But basically for pure energy and to amplify love. And so people that don't understand what the dream catcher is, the dream catcher is basically the circle of life. The web is your life, your path. The way it weaves kind of tells certain things about you. That's why I prefer to only weave for people that request them, because I believe that the weave tells something about you and your life. You use beads and dangles to lure the bad energy in to the web where it gets tangled. And then you use your protectors, which they call spiders, but I normally use like bobcat jaws, beaver jaws, coyote jaws. You use those things to devour the negative energy, and only the good energy gets through for the dreams. And it's it's very much about the battle between good and evil, and learning how to filter the negative out of our lives and only accept positive energy. And that's great. That's a great lesson no matter what religion you assign yourself to or what teaching you were raised with. That's a great teaching moment and a great lesson. So there's not anything witchy, occultish about it whatsoever. There's no negativity. I am, since 1992, I am a water-dunked Christian. So I absolutely put no negativity into these things. I just simply respect kind of the symbology that my ancestors created. And I try to keep those ways alive. And I also know that the gems do have significance within the Bible, because back in the Bible, the foundations of all the major worship houses were layered in 12 layers of gems that the Lord created. So gems, even according to the Bible, are precious and valuable things. So I understand people that don't understand the meaning behind it. They can get scared, and fear is normally prompted from ignorance, because you don't know what's fixing to happen, or you don't know how to handle something. It's just there's a blank spot, which is basically ignorance, and you have to learn to feel that. So when you feel fearful, the first thing you need to do is stop and start to take stock of your environment and fill all the gaps. What is going on? Why am I scared? What emotion am I feeling? Who do I need to focus on? Why am I possibly feeling this way? How can I change the way I'm feeling? What can I physically do to alter the way I'm feeling? Do I need to ground myself, get out of my headspace, and focus on the feeling of the grass beneath my feet, the feeling of the cat's fur beneath my hand, rather than focusing on here and following those trails of anxiety and paranoia? And so you can take that moment where you feel that fear and understand that it's a blank space. It's a little bubble of ignorance, and you start to feel it with just tactile, factual responses around you. The sky is blue. I'm standing on the green grass. My dog is beside me. And you start to flesh out the scene around you, and you start to say, what am I really feeling, why am I really feeling it, and what am I really supposed to be fearful of? And lots of times, by the time you've talked yourself through your immediate environment, you realize there is nothing to fear, and you calm down and you kind of ground, and then you can make a better decision about emotionally what you're feeling. And a lot of people just don't understand that. They don't understand that when you are in your headspace, you're completely detached from your foundation. And if you need to get back into your foundation, you have to use your senses. You have to physically focus on the tangible things and pull yourself back out of your head and into your core. And a lot of people don't understand that. And a lot of people don't understand that that aggression that they feel with fear lots of times comes from like past trauma. And past trauma, if you are somebody that constantly has jaw issues or neck issues or stiff neck or TMJ issues, lots of times that is indicative of trauma that's not been dealt with, because that is your trigeminal nerve and your vagus nerve. And your vagus nerve is kind of like the ultimate nomadic nerve, because it basically touches everything in your system. And so if it's not functioning correctly, then everything else is not functioning correctly. But the trigeminal nerve really holds a lot of resonance with people in trauma. And so if you're having a difficult time with PTSD or trauma, I would recommend, this is just what I found helped me, and when I was counseling seemed to help a lot of people, I would recommend finding ways to exercise your trigeminal nerve and your vagus nerve. There are a lot of vagus nerve exercises out there. They're very simple. Follow one that you like. Ask your doctor about them if you think they may be a little scary. Most of them are just holding your body in certain positions, your neck in certain positions, or putting pressure on certain nerve points. There's a lot of ways to deal with that, but a lot of people don't know that. They think this vagus nerve is something that's fictitious or made up. It's not. It's very real. And your vagus nerve and your trigeminal nerve are very important. Music feeling. And did you know that music actually creates space in the brain for trauma to heal? It creates open space for pain. That pain goes in, and then the music it helps it heal. Like you process that pain with the music. So music actually creates space for pain and then heals the pain. And music can be very instrumental in helping with trigeminal and vagus nerve issues as well, especially certain hertz and vibrations. Yeah, and last week when I was not feeling very well, I had a lot of tension. And I actually have a trauma history as well. And so I don't always I handle it with me, but I forget to tell y'all these things because I just handle it for me all the time, and I just forget to be like, oh, in case somebody else is handling this. But yeah, look at ways to exercise the vagus nerve. Talk to your doctors. I'm not a doctor, but I would recommend talking to your doctor and looking up some ways to exercise your vagus nerve and to reset it and kind of recalibrate it. And you'll feel a lot of ease, a lot of tension release. I know last week when my bowels were struggling after coming off those antibiotics, I was doing a lot of acupressure points and a lot of massage and a lot of vibrational, like harmonizing. So there's power in vibration and power in the tone, intensity, and vibration that your body can create. And so if you are ever having issues with your bowels, if you hum and you hum down, like you hum down through your sides and you use those muscles on your side and you hum and then you push the hum down through your stomach, it will actually activate the gut response and actually will make your gut move. And a lot of people don't know that. I did that a lot last week. Literally sat around my house mooing like a cow because that's my go-to phrase. And that helped a lot. But a lot of people don't know that. They haven't run across people that do these things or talk about these things. But I was always someone that wanted to find the natural route first, so that's where I went. And lots of times if you give your body an option between like a natural or homeopathic or a pharmaceutical remedy, your body will almost always gravitate towards a natural It's because of the way your body is made to respond. Um, a lot of the petroleum-based medications are harmful to the body, and the body will actually reject them. My body rejects them big time. I mean, hugely. So always talk to your doctor. Bring up insecurities you have or concerns you have. But those are things that I have learned from having a trauma past and having my master's in psychology and counseling, that the trigeminal nerve and the vagus nerve are very important to stress and trauma responses, PTSD. And when they start to swell, cause frustration, friction, and feel kind of out of kilter, you're going through something. And that's when you need to start paying attention to that trigeminal and vagus nerve and exercising them and working out whatever is collected there. So that may be something for y'all to look into tonight. There is a little blonde-headed doctor that does a great video on it. Like, she's got the best explanation of it that I don't think I could have sat down and made it any better. I don't care for a lot of her other videos, but she did really great on that one. And but she's normally one of the top recommended, so you can find her. It starts with an S. It's doctor. It's a female. It starts with an S. I don't remember what her name is, but I don't watch her a lot. But that is one thing that I will say she did an excellent video on. I mean, to the point, just very clear. You know, great, and I couldn't sit down and write a better way to express that. She was great. You're never too young to be dealing with trauma and anxiety, and no, that stuff just happens. You're humans. And you have to understand you're a human with a body that's the majority of water, that also has electrical impulses. And when you get water and electrical impulses, if you get the water balance off or the electrical impulses screw up, you're going to have problems, right? Basically, we're a battery. We're a battery. And we emit energy. And when our energy is off, our bodies seem to not function as well. So it's all about understanding this energy field. People say, we don't have an energy field. Okay, well, when I worked horses and cattle, my whole life, if I walked into that field and that horse was coming at me with its ears laid back, I could lean in and kind of push against that horse and be like, no, son, this is my paddock. You ain't going to treat me like that. And he would press off. Even if I was walked up behind him and he was picking grass, he would feel my energy flow, and he would tuck his butt and move before I got to him. Now, a lot of that's because they're herd animals, we're herd animals, and we're meant to have that sixth sense and that energy sensitivity. A lot of people don't have it anymore. It's kind of, you don't use it, you lose it. And I guess I'm lucky I grew up working with animals and livestock and cattle, because I saw this little energy field interplay between me and every animal I ever worked with. So I knew it was real. You know, it's like when you're sitting in your living room and you kind of feel somebody driving your driveway like you have company, and you do. That's your sixth sense. That's your energy field picking up on something changing. So we're a big battery. We have energy when things get clogged, when things don't move correctly, when they're out of kilter, we suffer, we struggle. And the best thing for that I have found for getting your body back into a stable, functional loop is to stay grounded, make sure you're getting your minerals, focus on happiness, focus on things that make you happy, and look heavily into your energy field and how you can control your energy field. There's lots of information out there. And look how you can use music, vibration, and total healing to help you handle anxiety and depression and stress. And and it even works for people that are autistic, and people like to say, oh, but they're on the spectrum. Honey, we're all on the spectrum. It's just some of them are in more non-functional capacities than others, but we're all on the spectrum. Nobody gets away from that. So it even works well for them, because it is basically how the body is made to respond and heal. That's why vibrations, tonal vibrations, and certain megahertz are so powerful. Um, there is something to it. And if you look into all the studies done, you just find more and more data about this. But everybody start looking into your energy field. They call it, they don't like for people to call it this, but it's the biofield. You have an energy field, you're a battery. You have a circuit going on. You have a charge in your body. And that means that you have a power in your body. Everybody needs to start looking into that energy capacity within themselves and how to use it for healing, protection, and all those other things, because it's completely there, and it's completely how a lot of these, like the monks, and they can go so many days without eating, and they can do these big miraculous health feats. It's because they know, and they're so in tune with the function of their body and how it functions, and they've not bought into all of the Western that that is more centered around being a customer and a consumer rather than being healed and being happy. And I had to struggle with that, because when I first was diagnosed with this, I went straight to all the specialists, and I wanted immediate fix and immediate answers, because I did not want to have to deal with something that was going to cripple me and cause me to have a terminal diagnosis and leave this earth earlier than I wanted to. And I had to finally allow it to resonate with me that I had to make peace with my body, learn to handle what it was going through, learn to understand the flares, learn to kind of not fight with them, but kind of move with them and get through them, and look at alternate things that made my body heal, because I don't do well with a lot of medications, especially the petroleum based ones. I do much better with tinctures and oils and natural plant stuff. No, I'm not breaking any laws. I'm a law just abider. I'm one of those people. But like goldenrod and ginseng and a lot of the nettle family and a lot of the like lyre sage family, and there are a lot of pine needle teas. There are a lot of things that can have a great response in the body if you're educated and know how to use them. And I recommend you talking to a physician or somebody that is very educated in that field. But I have found a lot of help in that regard. And my doctor has been amazed at how well I've done. And I also use, everybody talks about Rife machines, but they don't even like for you to say that word. Starts with an R, sounds like life, but they don't like for you to say that word. But I use, my family has 2 of those machines, and I use them as much as I can, and I can tell that my body literally does shed crud when I use them. My fluid intake goes up, and my bladder works much better, and my bowels work much better, my skin brightens, and I don't get as swollen and puffy, and just like, it's like my cells feel like they just kind of get spring clean, like you've opened all the windows and your body has thrown out all the bad stuff. So I've been really tickled with experiencing that. There are a lot of options out there, and you just have to do a lot of research. You have to talk to a lot of doctors, and you have to follow what you feel is right, and talk to a lot of people that have health issues, that have found things that help. And always question it, and always check with your physician, but always look for options. Options are great things. As long as you have options, you never feel like you're cornered, and when you feel cornered is when life falls to crap. So always make sure you're looking at your life to give yourself options in everything you do, so that you don't feel cornered, so that you don't get in fight or flight mode and absolutely do something that you would not need to do. But yeah, that's about all the wisdom I have for tonight. I don't think it's wisdom. I think I just chew the fat with y'all. But y'all, be aware of your communities. Know what's going on in your communities. Don't seek to engage inappropriately, but monitor, question, do some background, do some investigative stuff, and pay attention to what's going on in your neck of the woods, because your community is your responsibility. Don't break any laws, and don't engage in any violence, but just make sure you have a good idea of what's going on and who is trying to be a top player in your area as far as setting the tone of your community. And if you have concerns, talk to your law enforcement, talk to your elected officials, and make sure that you're voicing them in an appropriate manner rather than getting mad and inciting something. Lots of times when you have someone that is actively trying to create negativity in a community, they want you to come and create conflict. That's what they feed off of. So if you don't give them that, but you go to the appropriate authorities and share your concerns, you're going to get a much better response, and you're not going to have to engage in anything that is, not appropriate and dangerous. And so I definitely don't do that. But just be aware. Your community is your responsibility. Your community is your larger family. Your community is where you should feel safe, and where you should feel as though you're respected, because it's where you pay your taxes, and it's where you live your life, and it's where you invest your energy. So don't feel sheepish about standing up and saying, I'm not okay with this, if something's going on. Don't fall to belittle someone, or go straight to violence, but express yourself appropriately, calmly, and compassionately toward the other person's views. But don't be afraid to say, I'm not okay with this. Is there anything that we can do? Because I feel that this is going to create a very negative issue within our community. Lots of times, if you do your research and you pay attention, you will realize that the people that travel around to incite these issues, they basically are the new, I kind of call them the new violent carnies of America. They basically go from specific town to town to create these issues so that they can make news stories. And basically they're fake news stories, because they're going into communities that don't feel like they have a dog in that fight, and they're creating that fight there. So this is something that, this should be, if someone has a problem with what's going on, that it needs to be taken care of, where, where you're supposed to protest, where it's appropriate, for the elected officials, because they're the only people that can change it. You talk to your state reps, your senators, your elected officials. Put your energy there, because your fellow community members, especially in small communities that feel they have no dog in this race, they are not going to respond well, because they are not prepared emotionally or with resources to handle this kind of negative attention. And that's also why these people do this. They know that small communities are not prepared with the resources. So I just had to take a step up and stand up for my community today and say, hey, I've got some information. You all need to look into it. And then you all, if you need to proceed, you can proceed. But I'm concerned. And they were very thankful that I did that. And they were like, we will absolutely take it from here. We appreciate you doing this correctly and bringing it to us. And I was like, absolutely. I was like, I saw enough that it scared me, and I knew that you all needed to know. But if you see somebody that has a violent track record, violent arrest history, has had to change their name, moved multiple states, and is threatening to bring people in from other states and threatening to create violence, definitely take notes and send it to the authorities so that they can look into it. Just be aware. Just be an extra set of eyes and a compassionate heart, and realize that these people may feel they have the right motivation, but they absolutely have the wrong tactic. And maybe if they start to run into communities that say, sorry, we have some concerns, and legally with this history and this arrest history and this background, and you can't be doing this. They might understand that they can't just bully their way through this, that they're actually going to have to sit down and find a compromise to communicate, rather than to go in, talking smack and carrying a big stick, because that is just not appropriate in any way. So I'm sad that somebody that moved here from several states away thought that they needed to bring this animosity and energy to a place that is just so chill. I mean, we're like, we're not going to fuss about that. They can fuss about that in Knoxville and Nashville. We're not going to fuss about that. If you want to fuss about that, you go to Knoxville or Nashville. We don't have anywhere, we don't have a big enough place for people to assemble to fuss about it, and we don't have enough resources to take care of people who are hurt, injured. We're an hour and a half from the nearest hospital. Everybody has to be life flighted out if there's anything bad occur. It's just not a good idea to do stuff like that here. And so we have a really chill community. So it was really kind of heartbreaking to see that somebody had moved here because they liked our area, thought it was beautiful. But then the moment one thing didn't go their way, it was attack, and it was like, whoa, this community doesn't function that way. We kind of go, darn, you need to write your representative, you need to call your senator, you need to call your congressman, you need to really hound your politicians, you need to make sure your voice is represented by your vote. We don't normally create conflict. So this is going to be something very new for my area. I hope it absolutely doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't occur. No one will show up. But I've never seen so much energy put to such a horrible idea in my life. And it's just like, please rethink this. So everybody be in prayer about what may potentially occur here. So it's scary to be in this time frame and dealing with a lot of people that have a mentality that their belief is the only belief system and they don't have to respect anyone else's belief system. And if you're not on the pop culture side of things, you're on the wrong side of things. We're supposed to be human beings. We're supposed to be compassionate, caring. We're supposed to respect each other. We're supposed to see the value in each other. What happened? What happened? Because in the last 3 years, everyone went home and decided they hated everyone else. But y'all, we can't function, we can't survive, and we can't live without everyone else. We all are connected energetically, mentally, emotionally. We are all one big amoeba on this land. And it only takes 5% of the amoeba to change its direction. So let's get a well-balanced, commonsensical 5% to start leading us back to a calmer and more compassionate and caring society. This tribalism crap is driving me nuts. I mean, I have beliefs too, and for my entire life, my beliefs have gone against what has been on the books from the Supreme Court. I didn't attack anyone or create problems or upset communities. I knew that I simply just had to continue to vote and continue to talk about it and continue to make sure that my representatives knew my feelings and my emotions and stay true to my heart and how I felt I needed to handle that priority and that issue. Because all I can control is me. That's all. That's all I get is the me. That's all everybody else gets. That's all you get to control is you. I never once thought about being violent or upsetting someone else's world. And so to see people create such a momentum of harm so quickly, it hurts my heart. Because I know we are all attached. And I know that whether we think there'll be no repercussion because we don't identify that way, there will be a repercussion. Because we all are attached. Mentally, emotionally, energetically, we are all attached. So there will be a kickback from these people in these high stress modes and these highly emotional roller coaster frames of mind. And everyone needs to be super centered over the next few weeks, super grounded, super rational, super logical, and super aware of how you're presenting yourself to others, because everybody's going to have a hair trigger for the next few weeks. So make sure that you are focused on presentation of self and being aware of your surroundings and those around you at all times and the words you choose to state. Because I have a feeling it's going to be bad. So those are your Mama Liz words of wisdom. And now it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to let my dog go out and potty. I'm going to clean up my kitchen table. And then I'm going to get ready for bed. But I've enjoyed spending time with you. We're rolling toward a holiday. Something to look forward to. And like I said, if you have nothing else to do over the weekend, you can go to Smithville Fiddlers Jamboree on Facebook and watch the live feed, the live stream of the Fiddlers Jamboree. And it's great. It's like an Appalachia talent show. Lasts for 2 days, ends with a fiddle off. It's great fun, a great education about Appalachia, and a great peek into our little world that we have here. So I recommend everybody go and watch that if you have nothing else to do. Otherwise, I will be uploading stuff and checking in, but it will be sporadic and random. So I appreciate your time spent with me tonight. This is going to be the bulk of it for the week. But there will be little trickles of surprises through the rest of the week. So appreciate you, love yous. Be safe. Be careful out in society the next few weeks. And always be sure that the you that you portray is the you that you want people to see. So, love yous. Night, guys.